Okay, well, welcome everyone. My name's Karen Goebel, and I am in digital learning. And we have who else?
Haley Weemeyer.
And I'm Emily Nordhausen.
All right. Yay. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Maybe we'll end early. I don't know. We always say that, and then I don't think we ever do, but
I
oh
don't know that
well,
we ever do.
we never do. Okay, so how many of you in the chat while you're listening to me and getting into the course, if you have not gotten into the course, go ahead and do that now. How many of you have heard of Lightspeed Classroom? Already using it, not using it? Oh, I see a few hands up, but type in the chat how where you are with Lightspeed Classroom. Um, never heard of it. If you might be never heard of it, as a 1, a 5, you are an expert. Is it replacing Dino? From what we hear, it will be replacing Dino. Okay, chomping at the bit. Yay! We hear it's going to replace Dino. This is the last year for Dino. We've had Lightspeed for about a year now. Okay, big question.
That is the big
Can we
question.
combine classes? Well, today you can't, but from what light, but from what Lightspeed is telling us, because they know this is a big, important thing to us, so they're working hard on it. It's supposed to launch the same day I'm having puppies. I'm not having puppies. My dogs have puppies, but it's supposed to be coming out. I don't know why they would launch anything on Christmas Eve. That doesn't make sense, but that's what they're telling us, that's coming. So I think by January, you will be able to start combining classes. So that is something that's coming. So let's go ahead and get started. Don't forget to register for prizes once you get in that course. So, oh, you know what? I guess I should have, while we're kind of getting everybody in the course and filling out for prizes, to get to Lightspeed Classroom, remember you're going to go to the dashboard. Eastbed not available. And if you know what, we did a training last week. Goodness gracious, it's all right. If you don't know this little trick in the dashboard, I'm going to show you right now. I don't know if y'all see, I've got this at the bottom. There's my Lightspeed. Look, I have so many. I don't want to search every time. So if you don't know this trick, remember, if it's something you use all the time, Adobe, Schoology, Lightspeed, pin it to the bottom. How do you do that? You right click on it and you just say add to favorites. So once you find it in this sea of apps, then all you need to do is pin it and it'll stay at the bottom. So every time you launch your dashboard, we were shocked at how many people didn't know that this week when we were, and I'm going to impersonate a teacher because we don't have actual classes because we're not in a classroom. So y'all seeing my screen, right?
Yeah.
And so, why is somebody asking me that though? um, okay. Everybody in the chat, y'all are seeing my screen, right? Okay.
I'm
All
seeing
right.
your screen.
Okay. Good. All right. Um, I got thrown there for a loop here. Okay, so I am impersonating a 5th grade teacher that I know, but this is what the screen looks like when you launch and you get into this classroom. So the first thing we're going to talk about in this first folder, and don't worry about trying to take notes. We've got all this on video in here. If you click on here, you're going to see the video. But the first thing you're going to have to do, and we also have two different videos in here. Because if you're secondary, you're going to have bell schedules that are already embedded in that. And this is going to show you how you would set up a bell schedule. And in here, it would be elementary. But once you get in here, you have to initially set your class up. And this one's already been set up, but there will be a little button up here that says you haven't configured your class, and you'll have to do that. So once you have configured your class, and please, we're not going to go into every little detail about how to do that because that would that way we could spend the whole night there. But you can make, like, if you have a different day, if you're elementary and you have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you can have a different schedules. And those videos, they're short, sweet, and they show you exactly how to do that. But once you get it set up and you get it configured, and I'm going to just click view schedule, and you can see on hers, see how she has this. So she has Wednesday at different times, and she just did that by configuring one level, and then you just use that little plus sign, you add your next level. So you can have a different schedule every day if you need to. Intermediate and high school, y'all wouldn't have that because you're going to have a bell schedule. This is an elementary example, as you can see right there. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. So I'm in her class, and let's go back. Oh, I'm gonna go back in here. Sorry, guys. So after you get it configured, one thing that you might want to do, and I'm actually going to go back out because I don't want to be inside here. Okay. So one thing you might want to do once you get it set up is, especially like for me, when I taught and I was in elementary, I did math, science, and social studies way back. And so when they come in just like they are listed in Skyward. So they have these little funky names. And if you're partnered with somebody, you're going to have 2 math, 2 science, and they're going to look exactly the same. So we suggest that you rename them. And sometimes you may just want to, if you're self-contained, like if I'm in elementary and I'm self-contained, I might only want to set up one of those. There's no need for you to switch to the class that says math when you're self-contained. In that situation, I would just set up my homeroom, set that to go all day, and then I would not toggle to the different Skyward classes you're going to see in there. You only need to set up the one you're going to be watching. So what you would do is you click on this and you come down to manage. And when you get in here to manage, I made a little test class in here, but this is where you would see all of them listed. And she might say math, science, whatever. So if you don't want to see, and she's actually hidden all of hers, I think if I would click on this, and I'm not going to do that, I'll mess hers up, but she has actually hidden some of hers. So if I want to hide some, I just click on the 3 little dots here, and I can say rename, I can say remove. No, that one's not. Let me go to this one. Hide. This is the one that came in from Skyward. This one is one I can actually delete because I made it just to show y'all how to do some things. Okay, does that make sense? But for you all, you're going to say hide. You can also rename because, like I said, they come in with the exact funky name that Skyward has. And so you would probably want to be able to tell them apart. You'd want to rename them. You know, this is my math AM, my math PM, however you want to rename them. Okay. Let's see, what else was I wanting to talk about? Okay. And we talked about hiding your courses. So renaming, same thing with hiding when you're back to manage here. When you're in here, we talked about rename and hide. Okay, getting back to that settings there, that would take you back to where you would configure those schedules and that sort of thing. All right, now one thing I want to show you that you can do is when you're in here, and I'm going to switch to my test class. We love having Megan as our wonderful leader of our department, and we a lot of times borrow her daughter. And so she graciously allowed us to add her daughter in for the evening. And so I was able to do that just so you could see. So because what's hard about us showing you this at night is the district doesn't allow us. This is why one thing, we can't monitor her right now anyway. The district will not allow us to monitor them when they're in their homes. So you cannot monitor them when they're at home. And for elementary, I believe it's 4. Anyway, it has set times in there already that we cannot override. And as you'll see in the videos that you can watch later. We had to do those during the day so that we could get some actual shots and show you what it will look like. We'll show you a few of those. I think we'll show a few of those in a minute, but what I want to show you is you can make actual groups. So let's say you have your RTI group and you have your advanced group and you have that. You can actually create groups in here by, once you go down to the bottom of your screen, you would click on create group. And then it's going to add it up here. You would want to name that group. And then you can start dragging your kids by, you got to grab it by these little dots. You can grab them and put them into the different groups. And one of the reasons you might want to do this is when you set web rules for that group, let's say an enrichment group, you might want to set something for them that they're going to be able to go to, or send that group a link. I can't do it, see, because it will not allow us because it's not time. And we can't do it when they're not on. But you just click this little button, and let's say I want my advanced group all in IXL, and I want my RTI group, I want them all in Lexia. I could send them those links, and those may not have been the best examples because it gets a little tricky, guys. I'm just going to be honest. Because some of those that I just mentioned are single sign-in, you probably can't send those links as easily. But you get the point when, you get the point about being able to send them a link. This is a great way to send a Nearpod activity to your class, because doing it through ClassLink, when you grab the link from Nearpod, it embeds the code. They don't even have to type the code in, send it to them. And what's great about sending links is it just pops it right open onto their screen. Okay, so groups, good thing here about that is so you can create your own groups and group your kids in and that sort of thing. All right, let's look at how to monitor. You know what I think we might do for this one though? I think I might go ahead and play the video and just let y'all listen to that on the screen so that you can kind of see what it looks like when there's actual kids in the classroom. But you can see there's 3 different views. There is one where you're looking at the screens and you see all of the screens. Then there's another one that's called list view. I don't know about y'all. I'm not a list view person in my Google Drive. So this is not one of my favorites because I like to see as much information as I can. And this one shows you the actual screens of the kids. And then there's a heat map, which that's my least favorite, I'm gonna be honest. You just kind of watch the color coding of the heat map. I think when they go to a site that's not where appropriate, or it starts monitoring, it might turn red, it turns blue. So you have to kind of monitor the colors. So this one is probably my least favorite view of all of them. The one good thing about the list view is it does, tell you exactly where they are in the site. But let's just watch this video real fast. Let's see. Can y'all hear the sound? How's that?
No sound.
Y'all hearing?
No
You
sound.
hear?
No sound.
No sound. I thought I had it fixed where you could hear the sound earlier. Oh, let me see. Yeah, it says, okay, sorry. Well, let me just, you know what? I'm going to turn the sound completely off. Oh, I went the wrong way, but hold on. I'll just turn the sound off and I'll talk while we're kind of watching. But you can kind of see as I'm scrolling here, in just a second, I might scroll. Like this kid here, you can see they're on Schoology. This other kid down here is on YouTube. She's got a YouTube video in there about fractions that they're watching. You can actually click on it and it pops it larger so you can actually see what they're doing. I love that it's instant. You can see exactly what they're doing in real time. And this is an elementary, so only her small group is the one that's on right now. while she's working with another. But see, there's the list view. As you can see, it shows their actual, and that's the heat map view. Okay. So like I said, my favorite of all of these, I'm going to zip it on through. Let me see if I get to the screen view. My favorite of all of them is the actual screen view here, where you can actually see exactly what they're doing. Okay, I'm going to exit that out. And I think I am now, let me get back into here. I think that was the last thing that I was scheduled to cover. So I'm going to turn this over now to Kaylee.
Okay. But you're gonna keep sharing?
You want
Want to
me to
keep
share
driving?
or do you want to share?
I'll let
Which
you share
I'll keep sharing.
since you've got
You,
Lightspeed open, or did you already
okay.
close it?
Lightspeed
Okay.
is still open.
All right. Okay. All right. So one of the first things we're going to talk about is checking your students in. Karen, if you'll go to Lightspeed.
Mhm.
And so when you have your students, it's important to check them in. Now you'll see on the far right at the top where it says class controls, it says bulk check-in. Karen, you see where I am? Bulk
Yep.
check-in. Okay,
You see me
great.
circling? Yeah.
I do. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So bulk check-in is how you can check in more than one student in your classroom. And so it's important that you check them in so that you can monitor them. And sometimes, if you don't have them checked in, you won't be able to monitor them. They'll still be with another teacher. So if that teacher is running their class all day, like Karen was talking about with the configuring of schedules, if you, let's say, like this happens in intermediate and high schools all the time. But if they don't set it up by their bell schedule and they just monitor a blanket time, and those, or if you're running a pep rally schedule and you need to pull students into your classroom so that you can monitor them, you would use the check in button. And so if you are checking in your whole class, you can use that bulk check in button. Okay, and so it says attendance on the side when you're
Yeah.
in
I was
Lightspeed, but has nothing to do with our Skyward attendance or it's taking attendance. It's just checking the students into your classroom so that you can monitor them on Lightspeed.
and that'll be listed right over here on that left-hand side that's white right now. Like I said, it's kind of hard for us to show you all of this. The videos that are in the course you can watch a little later, but yeah, because we can't monitor at night, we can't see any of that in this picture today.
Yeah. Okay. And so another thing are the web rules. Karen, if you'll click on web rules right there. So web rules is just you as the teacher creating an allow plan or a blocking plan, or you can leave it as it is right now and there's no plan in place. So um, you're not blocking any sites or you're not allowing any sites. So the biggest difference here is that an allow plan will close down the internet and only allows specific sites that you decide what they are when you create your list. Okay. Now, there's a lot of issues with that one because we run through single sign on. There's a lot of like unknown whitelisted URLs. So this one is a little finicky. We actually don't prefer an allow plan. What we do prefer is the blocking plan, which leaves the whole internet open to students except for sites that you want to block. Okay, so if you don't want them on YouTube for the day, you can have YouTube as one of your URLs. Or if they're constantly going to, oh, at the intermediate level, I can't remember. I think it's like Cool Math or something like that that the kids kept going to that we wanted to keep them off of.
Or the
We would put,
constant Google sites
yes,
that they
Well,
create.
yes. So
Yeah.
you can put that in as your block list. Now, what's really great, and I put this in the Schoology course. Karen, if you'll bounce back over to Schoology for me.
ding. Mhm.
Thank you. And click on web rules right there. I just made a quick little graphic that tells you what blocking plans are and what allow plans are. But in that colorful little box, there's some and things you need to know about creating an allow plan or a blocking plan. Okay, so teachers can create 20 allow plans and 20 block plans. That's a total of 40. Okay, each of those lists or plans can have up to 100 URLs. Okay, so each of your 20 lists can contain up to 100 URLs. Okay. When you create an allow list or a block list, you need to make sure that you scroll all the way down and click save or apply changes. Okay. We have found that you kind of forget to scroll down and
Mm-hmm.
hit the apply changes. That happened to me. um, and so that's why I want to make sure you all know this. Make sure you hit that save button or that apply changes button.
That's the
And
biggest thing we'll hear people say, well, the block plan didn't work. And then we go in there and they never hit apply. So they've got it, they've typed it in, but they never saved it. So
yeah, yeah.
please make sure you do that.
Exactly. Okay. And then going back there, the last thing is that you can have more than one allow list going at a time or more than one block list going at a time. Okay. And so
Mhm.
once you have those lists created, those 20 different lists, you can, there will be a little check box next to each one. And so you can just check the plans that you want in place. So
Oh,
one thing that I would highly suggest is that you create an online testing plan that blocks sites that you don't want students to go to or allows only sites that you want students to go to for testing. Okay, but those allow plans are a little tricky because of all of the other whitelisted URLs that go along with single sign on.
yeah. And I think that allow plans are more, I don't know of very many elementary teachers who will usually use an allow, but I do know that it seems to be more popular with intermediate. So most of the
Mhm.
DLSs, the specialists on your campus, some of them even have some of those allow plans. So you talk to them because they
Yeah.
can guide you in that, and they know those hidden little links that you have to get through those single sign-on things. So if you do want to use an allow plan, I would suggest getting with your digital specialist.
And if you're on an elementary campus, you do have a digital learning specialist to support your campus. So, also, I want to address the comment here. It says what they do is open a Google slide and add or embed videos into those Google slides, and they share
Ooh.
those Google slides. But we just talked to our guy in
Mm-hmm.
IT,
Mm-hmm.
and he said he fixed that issue today. So, let
So
us know
monitor
if that
that.
is
Yeah.
still an issue so that we
Mhm.
can go back and tell him, "Hey, it's not working," or "Yeah, it's working."
Yeah, they've
So,
been working hard on that for the last week or so, trying to get that
Mhm.
stopped. So
right.
they supposedly have so please let us know if you see it still working, let your digital specialist know, or you can email one of us and we'll pass that on. But he says that they think they have found the way to block that. So
Yeah.
But just like I always tell teachers the analogy of, if a burglar wants to get into your house, even if you have an alarm system, the doors are locked, kids are so smart. And
Mhm.
it is, no blocking system is going to be 100% perfect, but it is a deterrent for the majority.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So
Oh,
let's go
uh,
back to Schoology, yeah, and click on the View and Close Student tabs.
oh yeah.
So this one is a big one. I love this one
Love
because
it.
Dino cannot do this one,
I know.
and I
I love it.
absolutely love this. So Karen was showing you earlier when you're in Lightspeed and you're monitoring your students, when you click on a student, it will pull up this screen that you see. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Karen. So right now it just says browsing history because we can't monitor it. But you'll normally see a picture of their screen, a larger
Mhm.
image of what's going on. And then it'll have the tabs that they have open. Every single tab will be listed below and says what they have open. Karen, if you go back to the Schoology course, I put in a picture of that.
Right here.
Yeah, right there. And so you'll see, can you hover over the tiny X?
I'm trying to
Yeah,
zoom
thank
in.
you
How's
for
that?
making that bigger. I appreciate that.
Okay.
That's perfect. So there's a little tiny X next to each of those sites. When you click that X, it actually closes the tab for the student. So if you see that they have something open where they should not be, you can just click on that little X and it closes it for them. I
Mm-hmm.
also love this because if you have littles that are on the computer and you just need one thing open, you can close everything else that they have open, or maybe they just forget to close things. So it's just a great way to kind of go in and close things for them, help those kiddos out.
And also you can redirect. So let's say
Yes,
like I
yes.
see Pebble Go right here and I really want them on Pebble Go, but you see how these are dark blue? That's the actual tabs that they're on right now. If you click on Pebble Go, it pops that tab up on their screen. So that's the one it pops them right to that. So it's a great way to refocus a kid that might be off task.
Hmm. Yes.
Right?
Okay.
Let's
And
see
if you'll
where we are.
go back to Lightspeed
Okay.
and click back on Ashleen for me. So I want to redirect you to this browsing history that you see here. So because she is currently offline, it just shows you where she has been. Okay. Now you can check a browsing history this way as well. Even when they are online, you'll have this tab that says browsing history and you just click on it
Mhm.
and it'll show you where they've been. You can also check on the calendar and you can check a new date to see, well, where did they go yesterday? Were they doing what they were supposed to be doing? Okay. Now, if you have not configured your classroom, you're not going to have any browsing history until you actually start monitoring.
That's right. So if you set this up to tonight or tomorrow, it'll only start, the history starts that when you set it up, not, it won't go back the rest of the year and get all that.
That's right.
Good point. Good point. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. And then the last thing I want to go over is the controls. So yeah, if you'll click on there, because I put in a screenshot of the classroom controls. So I just want to start on the left-hand side, that browsing toggle. So if you toggle that to where it's gray, what that does is it stops students from being able to browse. So they can open another tab, but they are not allowed to go anywhere. It's blocked. Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
everything's
everything that
blocked.
they have open stays open, but they cannot go anywhere else. And when you toggle the browsing back on to be blue, they lose everything that they had open. So it like shuts down that whole open session and you have to restart a new one. So you want to make sure that you don't toggle to no browsing when you're testing
Not when you're in
because students will
euphoria.
lose. Yes.
Because even
Students
though
will lose
they're
what they have open.
because even though that tab is open and it looks like if they click anywhere, it'll lock it down. So yeah.
Even if
Mhm.
you turn browsing back on and you hit refresh, it closes everything out. Okay. So I would probably turn off browsing at the beginning of a class period to give instructions and directions about what we're doing for the day and then turn the browsing back on. Okay. But you also have that next tool that's the screen lock. And so when you click on the screen lock, you can actually lock a student's or your whole class's computer for up to 5 minutes. Okay. And you can unlock it if you need it less than 5 minutes.
Just be
Okay.
aware that it only locks the current tab they're on.
Yes.
So that's a downfall, but
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. The next one I think Karen talked to you
Oh, I
about
love it.
already was the sending a link. And so we love this, especially for our littles, to send them a link and it just opens right on their computer. So you can send the whole class a link.
Mhm.
Okay. The web rules we already talked about with the allow plan and the blocking plan. The sharing screen. I think,
I think
Emily, are you
Emily's,
going over
mhm,
that? I
yeah,
think you are.
Emily's,
I'm
So,
gonna go over that and some things with the sending the link because there's a few ways to
okay.
do it. And so I'll go into more detail in a minute.
Okay, well, Well, perfect. Then I will leave that as it is because I've already talked about the bulk check-in and I'm going to pass it on over to you.
Okay, perfect.
Right.
So I'm going to be talking about engagement. And for the most part, I'm going to stay in Schoology because a lot of the things that I'm showing you, we don't really have access to at the moment, but I have a lot of screenshots in here, and Karen made some great videos. So if you start with sending messages, the first thing that I want to point out is that these messages are to individual students. So they're not going to be messages to your whole class. And to do that, all you're going to do is you're going to open one of your students, your individual students. You're going to select a student and you're going to press that send button. And when you press that send button, there are 3 default messages that you can pick from. So need help, are you done, great job, or you can do a custom. You can also send a link there individually to a student. So this is how you actually send those individual links if you only want one student to receive it. Because what Kaylee was showing you earlier, that link at the top, those are class settings. So all of those settings that Kaylee just showed you affect the entire class. This link would just go to that one student that you're opening. Something to be aware of that I have noticed working with teachers is that when teachers send these messages, they are a little bit small in the right-hand corner of the screen. And so if I were to use this in the class, I would definitely do some training with my students, showing them where those messages show up. I would practice sending messages with them so that they know. I might call out and say, hey, I'm gonna be sending a few messages, be on the lookout. And so then the kids know that when you're watching, but also that they could have a message coming. Because I did notice a few teachers sending them and the kids just miss the message because they're looking at the activity and it's at the, the top right-hand corner of the screen. So that's how you send messages to individual students. And we do have a video here that Karen created that you can watch on how to send those messages as well. So that's the first thing. And Karen, if you go to the next screen, it is going to be on sending those links. So there's 2 ways you can do it. Well, I guess 3. There was what I just showed you, which is in that message, you can actually send a link to individual students. What Kaylee showed you, that top way, in the class control, sending goes to the whole class. But if you have a specific group that you want to send a link to, I really like using groups. I like putting my special friends right at the top, the ones that are maybe going to the Google slide deck with their videos, because I want to be able, maybe my kids at the bottom that are, in that default group that the class comes in, maybe are the students that don't need to be monitored as much, but my groups that I've created are friends that I want to just kind of keep a lookout for. But it could be for stations as well. They are fluid. You can move students around. And so if you wanted to send one group a link, you could do that. And I kind of wanted to ask Karen and Kaylee, like, my thoughts on sending links. So you could send the link to Kahoot, you could send to Nearpod, you could send to a collaborative Cami. Maybe you have them in Schoology, but maybe, you've kind of thought about it on the spot, the lesson changed and you wanted to rework something. Do you guys have any other ideas of links? Maybe a YouTube video that you might be sending? I really like putting stuff in Schoology, but sometimes occasionally could come up that you want to send that link so they go directly there.
Well, and I was working with a kindergarten teacher today, and she was trying to get the kids to go to Nearpod through the dashboard as a kindergarten teacher, which was great. But I did show her how it would be much easier for her if she just did the send link and it just opens the tab for them. But you're right. Spur of the moment, you're having a discussion, and all of a sudden, a topic came up that you weren't even planning to discuss, you might quickly send them somewhere to explore more about that by using the link, because you didn't have it already in Schoology because you weren't planning for it. So it's a great way to.
For sure, definitely on the fly stuff. Or I would send them a link to Schoology or to the exact spot where they need to go in Schoology. Another thought would be is if I created like a Mentimeter or like one of those polls or word cloud generator things to get student feedback or exit tickets, I would send it through there.
I like that. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is, let's see. Okay, so student status. So I took screenshots from the video. What this is in Lightspeed Classroom, your students have the ability to change their status, and there's three default statuses. So there's no custom status, and the way that they are able to choose whether they're working, they need help, or they're done is they already have an extension on their computer called Classroom, but it's not pinned. So they are going to go up, just like whenever you install any Chrome extension on your device, you're going to press that puzzle piece that I have the top arrow pointing to. So this is something I would do whole class with your students, or, I mean, depending on the age, maybe in a small group, making sure that they have pinned their extension. And it's called Classroom because they're going to see others. You can see there's that Lightspeed filter agent and the Lightspeed user agent. It's not those. It's actually the Classroom, even though this is called Lightspeed Classroom. So we want to make sure Classroom is pinned, and I would do a training session. I would not just like maybe wait for kids to click on this. You're going to have to tell them that this is a feature that's available. And one thing about the blocking plan that Kaylee might have mentioned it, but I'm not sure if she did, is there is a button that says that when students change their status to done, they can get out of the blocking plan. And so this is it, are you able to pull it up? Yeah.
I was going to show you in block. I think it's right down here. See right here where it says allow full access when they change it.
Filter.
So they would, right. So you would check that. You're right. And when you hit, there's that apply button. When you hit apply, you're right. When they change their status, they can go to more.
Now, this is student honesty then, because they're changing their status, but it really depends on you. I like to try to empower my students to, take responsibility and ownership of their learning and pride that they finished the activity. Now, maybe they can go to another site, but you also know your friends that maybe need more monitoring and more support that maybe I would put in that group that's at the top and say, and you can see on the left-hand side, which status, where different students are. I don't have a picture of it. And I tried to get it this afternoon, and I'm not sure of the one with the different statuses.
You can filter your view by their status as well.
Yeah, and we just can't see it because it's over here on that left-hand side down here where you can see done. It says
I realized I wanted a screenshot of that after 5 p.m. today, and I was like, oh, I can't get that.
Too late.
And so I'll add it in afterwards, probably tomorrow, of just what that screenshot is. But you can filter those views of who's done. And this is really great for when you're at that teacher station and you're able to see, oh, someone needs help and they're not calling your name, they're not waiting with their hand up. You can be working with kids, but your laptop's on the side and you can see who needs help. You might be able to send a peer over. You might be able to give your kids a problem and then go over and quickly assist. And kids aren't embarrassed to say they need help because they can, say it in a private way. So I really love this tool, but it is something that you're going to need to practice with your students. I might say, okay, everyone changed to needs help. Everyone changed to done. And I would definitely remind students of this, at the start of a lesson, saying for this activity, make sure we are marking our classroom status. Okay, and I think I have one more thing today. I think is the last thing is the next one, which is sharing the screen. And what I really, really love about this is that it shares it to all students. And so you can do your screen or you can do other, any student in your class. Really great exemplars. When I was in the classroom, it was all about putting stuff under the document camera. And I literally put student devices under the document camera. Trying to and it was not very effective, but I tried to get kids, for in the moment to share something that is a really great, a really great example. But now teachers can choose. The really important things are just understanding. You can share your entire screen, which is just everything within the screen. You can share a window. So that means all of your tabs within Chrome, or you can just pick one tab within within Chrome. And so you then just select that one. If you have multiple screens, if you have multiple windows, or if you have multiple tabs, like I usually do, you can. I'm the queen of, I don't know, 30,000 tabs. You have to pick that tab. And so that is how you actually share your screen. It's really quick. It's at the top. The way you share a student screen, Karen, if you scroll all the way to the bottom of this page, so there's the video, here's how you share the student screen. You are going to open a student. So this student, Luna, is doing really well. And then in the top right-hand corner, when you're looking at her screen, there is a share screen button. And so then you press that, and then when you press continue, her screen is actually going to appear on top of everyone's screen. And then when you're finished, you just press the stop sharing screen red button. And so I love this feature. Highlight the amazing things happening in your classroom, showcase your student work. Great tool.
Yeah, and in this video, yeah, I show both ways on how to share the teacher and how to share the student. So yeah. All right.
Okay, and that was the last one. And so I think we're doing so good on time. I think are we ready for prizes?
We are 3 minutes.
I think there's one more folder under mine that is.
There is.
What was that purple folder?
Oh, it just is the checklist with all the videos. It's the same videos that we scattered throughout, but I also just embedded it in here as well in case anybody wanted to just go straight down them. Okay. All right, so let me, nope, I'm not going to stop sharing.
And while Karen's
hold on, I'm just going to
spinner, if we did not answer any of your questions, or if you think of questions later, you can always send us an email or contact your digital learning specialist in case questions come up, or if you can think of anything.
We only had 5 people fill out the prize form.